Welcome, for it is I, Hieronymus of Nolan, with another part of my history of the cultures and societies and peoples of the old world. Of the lands across the sea. Across the great western ocean, south of the bleak lands of the northern shores, lie the hot and uncharted land called Lustria. This by the scholars of the empire, of course. Many fortune-seekers travel there, and though few return, they bring tales of steaming hot jungles and strange inhabitants, of howly, dusky warrior women, and of the lizard men that dwell amongst ruined temples of immeasurable antiquity. I have seen the dissection of one of these corpses, and witnessed its strangeness and unwholesome appearance. They appear to be giant lizards of sorts, walking on 2 feet like men, though they are far taller and have heavy musculature, and their blood is said to be cold and venomous. Their temples reputedly hold vast riches, such that the emperor equipped an expedition to bring back the wealth of distant Lustria, where it could be put to good use in the service of his most imperial majesty, Karl Franz. That was many years ago, and there has since been no word of the fate of that expedition. Of the encroachments of dread chaos and the enemy within. Even here, in my own chamber, protected by the Templars of Reiksgard and by the prayers of the most pious priests of Lord Sigmar, I shiver with fear when I write of the unspeakable beast, the abomination, the enemy of life, the dread power that men call chaos. It is claimed by the foul demonologists that our world is but one of many, and all of us exist in the world of shadows as well as the real world that we can see. They say that our shadow selves live in the strange and unfathomable place known as the realm of chaos, the shadowy, immaterial abode of demons, known also as the ether, the warp, the underworld, the utter dark, and by many other names. Here time has no meaning, and the events of past, present, and future meld into one chaotic existence. Some debate that this is not one dimension, but many, an infinite number of alternative worlds where everything is possible, and every variation of human history is played out as decreed at the beginning of time. North from the borders of Kislev, past the rugged Troll country, lies the hellish realm of chaos, where the demons roam, servants of entropy and the long night. These creatures consist of thoughts alone, and these thoughts are terrible. The realm of chaos is a home to many terrible entities of cosmic power. I tremble as I write down the names of the 4 great gods of chaos. I dare not speak their names aloud, for their servants can see and hear everything that is said anywhere, and the wise do not draw attention to the denizens of the dark. Therefore I shall write them down and pray for your souls. There are 4 vile and loathsome dark gods of chaos, 4 brothers in darkness. The first of them is Khorne, the great god of war, the lord of skulls. He takes many shapes: a gigantic blood-stained hound, a bestial warrior, his hands dripping with blood, a brooding king sitting upon a throne of skulls. In his hand is a sword, upon him brass armour, and he sits on a great mound of skulls which stretches around him eternally. His bellow of rage echoes throughout time and space, and it is he who brings the curse of war to this unhappy world. Next is Nzeech, the great conspirator, the master of the mutable time stream. He is the sorcerer of chaos, and his sphere of influence is change. He is the ever-changing one, the master of magic and mutator of mankind. His followers infiltrate human society, forever plotting, hiding, biding their time, waiting for the moment to rise up against law and order. Nurgle is the nauseating Lord of Plague. He is described as a vast mounting of rotting and corpulent flesh, ridden with all the diseases of the world. In his physical form, Nurgle is a mountain of filth and corruption. But these words scarcely do justice to the true foulness that is Father Nurgle, the lord of physical corruption and disease, morbidness and hopelessness. It is he who unleashes the horrific diseases that take such a terrible toll upon the inhabitants of the old world. Lastly, there is Slaanesh, the keeper of hidden vices and terrible passions, the lord of forbidden pleasures, the decadent prince of chaos. Slaanesh is said to be neither man nor woman, yet both, and that to see the physical perfection of his form is to be damned to love him forever with passionate and undying intensity. His followers and demons cavort naked with the fallen, driving forth to new and agonizing pleasures by his stinging whips. There are many other lesser powers of chaos, lesser gods, godlings, demons, and demigods, but only the four great powers are known everywhere in the known world. They are worshipped throughout the world in different guises and names, but always they remain the same, as do their goals. Many mortals serve the demonic overlords of chaos. From the north come the black-clad warriors of chaos, followed by the barbarian tribes that worship the gods of chaos. These are the enemy without, the dark armies that gather on our borders. More insidious are the followers of chaos within. In the lands of men they are revealed and sick heretics who worship the chaos gods in secret. Despite the efforts of the order of witch hunters, their influence grows daily. It grows in secret, and many powerful and influential men secretly throw their lot in with the ruinous powers, hoping to gain great power and immortality as their reward. In deep cellars and hidden temples, these despicable and insane men perform hideous rites and living sacrifices to appease their dark masters. Each year they are said to be more numerous and more powerful. Many of us believe that we live in the dusk time of this world. I fear that they might be right. Sigmar, forgive me, for these are heretical thoughts. But the shadow of the north has grown so huge that I see little hope for our survival. Sigmar, preserve us and deliver us, for our world has grown very dark indeed. Perhaps I have doomed myself by what I have written, but I have sworn to write the truth for scholars who come after me, and to warn them of this danger. Of the power of magic. Long ago, the study of magic was forbidden in the lands of the old world, and all men and women who saw visions, who could perform miraculous deeds, were, quite sensibly, burned at the stake. But during the great war against chaos, Magnus the Pious, the uniter of the empire, lifted the ancient ban against sorcery and established the colleges of magic. From that day on, the empire has been served by a corps of battle wizards. The Aether, or the winds of magic, encompass 8 strands of magic. That of fire, of pyromancy, gold, and the law of alchemy; amber, the wind of beasts; light, which is the heavenly law of astronomy; the shadow wind, and the jade wind of life, as well as the purple wind of the dead. These are the disciplines of sorcery, as they are taught by the colleges of magic today. But though many of you do not know it, all magic originates from the realm of chaos. In the furthest north, say the scholars of the colleges of magic, stands a colossal gateway to the dimension of nightmares and demons. From this gaping maw spew forth unnatural winds and mutate in dust. This energy coils around the world like an immense serpent, and with it this power that the wizards employ when they are casting spells. Those with a gift, or indeed the curse, of second sight can perceive that these 8 energies, that they emerge from the northern wastes and coil over the world like a serpent strangling its prey. Humans specialize in one of these strands of magic, and there are schools of sorcery which specialize in each of the colours of magic. Of the monstrous beings, many of my grimoires show pictures of frightening beasts, of giant octopi that lurk beneath the waves, of giant kraken which emerge to consume entire ships before sinking back to the dark depths of the ocean, of the strange Jabberwock said to eat beautiful maidens, of the winged folk of the southern isles and the serpentine worms of the east. Of course, a rational scientist such as myself does not believe in such things as these. But there are other beasts which do exist, as I have seen with my own eyes. The zoo of our most benevolent emperor here in Altdorf holds many strange and terrible creatures which can be brought to war. Griffins, with the bodies of lions and head of fierce eagles, steaming winged horses called Pegasi, giant snakes brought by the Arabian merchant from the southlands, hippogriffs that nest in the crags of Massif Orkel, great lumbering beasts of Araby known as elephants, and many more. Dragons are the most ancient of the creatures under the old Edge Mountains. Dragons are still said to slumber under great hills. Even Calaganus the Black, the father of all dragons, is rumoured to have his lair beneath the bowels of the earth, with the mountains as his spine, waiting for the doomsday, when the dragons will be roused from their slumber and soar above the clouds once more. Of the orcs and the goblins. The orcs and goblins are the bane of all civilized races. These creatures have hides of greenish hue and are hideous in appearance. Their beady eyes glow red in the dark, and their foul fangs protrude from their gaping mouths, which utter such grunts as pass amongst them for language. They converse amongst themselves as much by blows and cuffs as by words, and it is a wonder that they can make or do anything at all. Indeed, their weapons and artifacts are the crudest kind, yet effective enough to wreak havoc in every land. Their encampments are squalid in the extreme, and every so often the tribes gather and migrate in great hordes across the land, waging war which is their greatest delight. Indeed, it is said that the orcs in particular live for war. Goblins, their lesser cousins, eagerly follow and serve the orcs. The names of many tribes are known, such as the festering scabs, the iron claws, the red eyes, and the broken tooth. And these tribes are swayed by their shamans who wield strangely potent magical powers. It is they who invoke their idols and rise up warlords and set their tribes in motion, stirring up the great wargs or wanderings, of which the Kislevites speak. Orcs are constantly fighting amongst themselves to establish the rule of the strongest. Thus there are endless layers of leaders and warlords, each vying for power. Thus much of their energy is spent fighting amongst themselves. It is claimed that there is no orcish word for equal. There is no counting the numbers of orcs and goblins which infest the barren places of the world, and no matter how many are slain, there are always more. Certain other creatures slink and grovel around the orc encampments, such as trolls, who are foul and ghastly beyond description, and the snotlings, who infest the dung heaps in their multitudes. Do not, however, underestimate the power of the orcs. For some time, when led by a warlord who is inspired by his idols, the horde becomes unstoppable and will cut a swathe through the great realms of men. Even dwarves and elven cities have been laid low by the orcs, and many fine things have been overthrown and trodden into dust. And lastly, of the rat-men of the underworld. One of the most persistent legends in the folklore of ignorant and uncouth peasants is that of giant rats who walk on 2 feet in the manner of men. It is said that their vast empire stretches for untold miles beneath the earth. Allegedly, their society is divided into several great clans, each ruled by a powerful Skaven collectively known as the Lords of Decay. Most of the time they are said to fight amongst themselves like rabid rats, but sometimes they set their bickerings aside and wage war against the inhabitants of the old world. When the rat host goes to battle, they muster the innumerable hordes of the lesser warlord clans. There are lunatics and madmen in the great Altdorf Asylum who claim that they have escaped from the slavery of these rat-men, and others who say, even as we speak, they are preparing for a great war against mankind. I have never seen such creatures, and as the learned professors of Nolan have shown, irrefutable scientific proof exists that these creatures are but a sham and a hoax. I have included here a parchment which is said to have been written by one of these creatures that are known as Skaven. I have brought it before your majesty for the sake of completeness, despite any firm belief, but it is but a clever forgery. These Skaven are but a figment of imagination, and there are enough real dangers in the grim world of ours. Let your thoughts concentrate on the tasks at hand, and not on the babblings of old senile saga poets. According to these questionable reports, each of the greater clans has its own armaments and foul methods to wage war. The clan known as Moulder are powerful beastmasters, and use magical warpstone to breed and mutate ferocious fighting beasts. Clan Eshin are feared assassins and stealthy murderers. It is even rumoured that one of their number assassinated Emperor Mandred. Clan Skyer are known as warlock engineers, masters of an insane blend of magic and science. The clan Pestilence are known as the Plague Monks. They are disciples of disease and initiates of infection. It is told that the clan holds a great book called Liber Bubonis, which lists all diseases known to man, and many unknown besides. As instructed by their god, the Plague Monks are dedicated to spreading pestilence and plague amongst the cities of men. In the land of Tylea, The men of that land tell of the tale of the great city of the Skaven, hidden deep in the rotting heart of the blighted marshes. This city is called Skavenblight. Tylians are not noted for their originality. In the legends, herein lies the temple of the horned rat, the foul chaos god of Skaven, and here the multitudinous millions of the Skaven hordes scuttle, plot, fight, and murder each other, vying for supremacy. No man has seen this city, and like most, I believe it to be just a myth, for the blighted marshes are impenetrable and poisonous, thus giving rise to legends of this great Skaven city.